Now, and we are live. Welcome to another informal town hall where we're going to collect feedback from developers, and we'll see whether they'll be clients who show up. But uh, nice to have you here. Now we're sort of becoming friends, seeing each other every month and such. Many of you are return visitors to our town hall, so I appreciate that. So maybe I'll just start off with a little inspiration as usual. Uh, Maybe a principle that we'd like to share this time is um, one on discipline. So one of the things I was thinking about was uh, I just finished this book called Walden by a famous author, Henry David Thoreau. Have any of you heard of Walden? Well, he's a famous American writer, and he said, "Our greatest glory is not our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising up every time we fail." So maybe I'll repeat that. From Walden, Henry David Thoreau, our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising up every time we fail. So right now, as you may know, LD Ventures, a lot of people have started signing up for LD Ventures, and some people have persisted quite a bit and completed quite a few tabs, getting ready for us to fund them. And I really see that this persistence is really something that's very strong. I think another thing that's really strong is last town hall, I got a lot of feedback on how to structure the LD Ventures legally. The last few months have been sort of busy, so I'm still working on that. But legally speaking, that is something that also I need to persist on. Is I need to make sure that I have a proper legal framework for how companies can, for instance, start themselves and then through LD, but then have a separation clause afterwards, because and then you're building a company that you want to be your own company. Um, but with regards to doing the company itself around the theme of discipline, I was actually thinking about just how much persistence on a company is similar to persistence on any effort. And for instance, an example of an effort is uh, finances. Even in a company, you have to do finances, but finances has a lot to do with saving money. For instance, you have to have that discipline when you're running a company or when you're even doing finances for yourself to consistently every week check how much money have I spent? Is that what I wanted to spend versus is it more? And it's so much like, for instance, for me, losing weight, for instance, is similar to saving money. Every week, you want to check how much have you lost and have you not gained, and how much did you want to eat and how much did you eat, and how much did you want to exercise and how much did you exercise. Similarly with finances, how much did you spend, how much did you want to spend, and such, and how much did you make and how much did you want to make, uh, and such. And one of the things I was remembering was just how sometimes we let things go. For instance, a few months before my sister's wedding, I was extremely fat, and I was overweight, and I kind of even wanted it because I was watching this TV show about this Don, this guy who was super fat running the show, and I just wanted to be like him. And then I was quite overweight for my sister's wedding, and I thought it looked cool. But then later on, I realized that's actually not good. So then I had it take a lot of effort, month after month, every month, losing weight and checking that I've lost more calories than I've gained and such. And so sometimes it's similarly with finances. Sometimes we say, "Oh, I just want to have a really good time," and we just spend a ton of money, and then we realize later we've spent all our money, and then we have to save. Similarly in entrepreneurship, sometimes we get really interested in what we're doing. We post it all over social media. We get super excited. We do a bunch of stuff. We do a lot of marketing and sales and product development, and then we sort of get jaded. And I actually dubbed this. So I actually think that the way to actually do a company is maybe not go overboard 1 month and then get jaded, but rather basically every single day have something interesting to do, like a cron job on a server, or as I dub it, a manual cron, or a man cron, where maybe every fourth Tuesday of the month you post on social media. So you make sure you're not posting every day, because then you'll burn out, but you're also not posting, you're not just posting a bunch in 1 month and then never coming back to it. It's about that, like, you know, every other day, maybe you check on your finances, but then maybe every other Wednesday you check on your sales activity, you monitor which clients to reping, and maybe if you have customers who haven't converted yet, you talk to them once, and you don't want to keep bothering them every day after that, but maybe after 7 days, after 14 days, that sort of discipline, that sort of schedule, that to do anything from saving money to doing finances to running a company to keeping yourself healthy, it's all the same thing. It's the schedule, it's the discipline. And when you have the schedule and discipline, then you won't have the moments where you just let everything go. Or maybe you will, but maybe the schedule will be able to like sort of come back into your life. And thank you, Francis, and set you back on track. And so one of the super things is, like, for instance, one of the things that I really like to do is to keep healthy is, if you need to go for a walk, you need to go for a really long walk or something like that in order to keep yourself healthy. Then one of the things I like to do is I also like to listen to an audio book, sometimes business books, sometimes other books, while going for a walk, so that I feel entertained. And sometimes I get so engrossed in the story that I forget about how even that I'm tired or something like that, and such. So those are the quotes. Oh, actually, that quote that I shared was from another sort of romantic, transcendental author. It was from Emerson, the one, "Our greatest glory isn't not in never failing, but in rising up every time we fail." That was from Emerson, who is not Thoreau, but related to Thoreau, similar genre. But I read Walden, which is by Thoreau. Now, so for that intro, thank you for listening. I wonder if anybody noticed the new designs of our site and blog that were developed. Did anybody notice them? Not this page, but maybe this page. And if you see here, this is a new design. This is all new design. And if you see here, if we look at like web developers, this was designed by Anisha, who is listed on our website as well. Yeah, maybe, did any of you notice this compared to what it was before?
Yeah, I got you, Johan.
Yeah, well, we're hoping that more developers will get invited for opportunities, because this actually, Boniface helped me actually make this SEO friendly as well. And so hopefully, and Anisha, she helped us create the designs of this. And then the blog itself, we were getting so much traffic, but it wasn't a design that's quite attractive. So now it's been revamped by the same designer. And now we feel like hopefully some of the will be presenting your work in a more attractive way, so that more people will become clients, and more developers will get shown for what they're able to do. So yeah, so you can see the design. So we're happy about that. We're happy about the progress of the company. We've seen a huge surge in the number of customers on our platform, hiring talent, the number of developers joining, the quality of the developer profiles, the number of contacts in our CRM for us to market to, our general presence in the world, especially in the US client market and the developer markets in Africa and South Asia. So we're very happy about that. Thankful to all of you. Now, The rest of the meeting, super informal, ready to take feedback on LD Talent or LD Ventures.
Update my experiences recently. But has the number of experience you can add to the portal, has it been increased from the previous, is it 11 or whatever? Because I realized that it's super difficult to capture the skills you want to present to clients. For instance, my case, I couldn't fit everything into the spaces available to show that the AR and VR skills was more than the number of years that I could fit in, while also fitting in my UI, UX, and web development skills into the same spaces provided. Can we not add more than this thing we had before?
I see. I actually thought you can add an unlimited number of experiences. You have a lot. Wow. You're not able to add more? So I'm actually looking at your profile right now, and I see you have a lot. You have quite a few, and this is really, really good for anyone else seeing. This is amazing. But what was the issue? You weren't able to add more? The form didn't let you?
The ability to add skills. Let's say I add WordPress to the skills. It's required that WordPress needs to show up in the project for it to reflect, for that skill to get accepted into the to the system. So when I tried doing that, it did not work because I had exhausted the 11 slot or so slot that I had, which had taken up my AR and VR work.
Oh, interesting. So I actually thought the only limit is that per experience, you should have max of 7 skills in each experience. But overall, in the entire profile, I didn't know that you were hitting against, like each experience can only have 7 skills associated with it. But I mean, you've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. What was the limit per experience?
The total experience. So if you count, like I had, if you start counting from technical, if you start counting from tech for relief, and you count tech for relief, edu extra, practice lab, I should go. See, I couldn't add beyond Axe TV.
Interesting. This is good. This is good concrete feedback. Okay. Do you think that you could maybe write down the issue in the chat, and then I'll copy and paste it over to the person who developed the resume form, and she'll take a look at it, and then.
And it's also possible that it could be an edge case from me. Maybe if other people have the same experience, they can.
It may not be. If you're facing the issue, others may be as well. If you could just write it in writing, I will make sure to relay that to the resume form developers, and they will try to address it.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jiho.
Also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it advisable to ask clients after the interview if it takes too much, maybe 2-3 weeks, and they have not gotten back to you? Is it allowed for us to ask them what's their way forward?
Absolutely. You should ask them, are you going to press try? Are you going to hire me? If you need to hire me, go to your go to your LDC channel in Slack, and there'll be a link to matches or to hire or try a developer, and press try there. I encourage all of you who have interviews, after a few days after the interview, say, hey, if you'd like to hire me, go ahead and please press hire/try using the matches page in your LDC channel. And then they'll be able to go through, find that link, and press try. We strongly encourage that. You shouldn't start working until, of course, they hire you so that you can track work sessions and such.
Yeah, I've had like two uh, occasions where after the interview, uh, we had a discussion and realized that what the client really thought they had was not what they wanted yet. And then they said, okay, they will take some weeks to rework their plan and get back. And then it's almost taking forever, taking months, and it's not head back. I was wondering if I can just chat them and ask, I have not heard back from you. What's up? Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Absolutely. So do ask them in the interview channel, and ask them there. And if you tag them, then I can also mail phone react, so it'll forward to all their different devices, as
Uh,
well. But if you could just ask them in the LDI interview channel, that would be good. Uh, and yeah, it's your job as developers to sort of in the interview channel convince them to hire you and work for you. And yeah, I think that that's a good piece of advice from you,
uh,
Jiho. Um, so Francis wrote something. Um, why don't you present it, Francis? Unless, yeah, if you'd like. Uh, I think it's a good point. So you can interrupt me anytime, Francis. But until then, I will present what you said, which is, under the current system, the developer gets an invite from the client, which is nice, but as a developer, I'm looking to improve my skills, and therefore I'm constantly studying the market for which new skills to learn. It would be nice if I could see all the skills and jobs clients are looking for, and then interested devs can apply. You can see that, Francis. If you go to the Browse Projects link in your LDE channel, you see that, and you can express interest in the projects that you're interested in. And when you express interest, a red star will be placed next to your name in the client's Find Engineers page. In addition to that, if you're like, for people who are not, I mean, all of you are, you're part of the Slack. But if you weren't part of the Slack, if you're sharing with a friend or anyone like that, then on our website, if you go to share here, on our website, if you go to jobs here, you can also see publicly all the different jobs on our site and different like different descriptions.
Can we get that in Slack?
Yeah, in Slack it's a better version even, because in Slack it's not just this. You can even express interest, so it's active.
I'm talking about opportunities. I mean like opportunities. Can we see the opportunities in Slack as they come in?
Oh,
Yeah, because
oh,
most
okay.
of
I
us,
thought you meant the link to your browse projects in Slack. You're saying like get a Slack notification for opportunities as they come in.
yeah, as they come in.
That's a good idea. I think I had that in one of our lingering items to do. Uh, we'll surface that again. It's an interesting idea, like a jobs channel where you can see jobs coming in. Yeah, great feedback. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Uh, there was
Yeah, what I meant was getting like a jobs channel where we can see all the issues as they come in. Because most of us are, you know, connected to Slack. all the time. So we rarely even check the actual website. So it would be nice if we can actually get the notifications because the website as it is, it does not have a feature for notifications, so you can have to log in to actually be able to to see the opportunities. So an opportunities channel would be nice.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. You're right that an opportunities channel would be good. To actually express interest in the opportunities, you would have to go to the browse projects link in your LDE channel.
Right.
But to just see them come in, then yeah.
Also, yeah, it would also be nice if as those opportunities come in, we get more information on the project. Because last week I got a project, and it wasn't really a project because it turned out to be a bug or an issue. And as a developer, I'm looking for long-term engagements with clients, and so I just found out from the client that that wasn't really a long-term project, or it was just a small issue we were dealing with.
Yeah. So thing we have planned in our proposed design changes, and our developer who's working on this, she needs to get to it. But some more information collection. So it's like whether it's a new idea or an existing project, whether it's maintenance or whether it's like
Right,
whether they have project specifications,
right,
whether they need help describing it or whether they're an expert in hiring developers. Um, Things like how many hours they expect the project to take and how many months they expect it to take. Uh,
exactly.
Things like that. Some scoping information is something that we definitely had, and I apologize. It's taking. I mean, we were focused on getting this new design out. We do want to get these better descriptions from the clients, the collection form out as soon as possible as well. So thank you.
So for LDV, the document you said you were going to put together last time, said it takes some couple of weeks, a month. Finally done with them.
No, I apologize. To be frank, I was just busy with the design stuff, the design iterations of the new UI design, and also with some other stuff within LD. And yeah, I need to get to it. I know, and that's unfortunately something I can't even delegate. I have to look up the laws, figure out, create the contract and such. Realistically, I will probably be putting more effort into it after August 13th because I have a deadline for something I need to do before then. So I'll start working on it after August 13th. And I totally understand that you're sort of, many of you are paused because you're waiting for all those legal forms to be finalized. And so I understand as well.
For the tab, do you have an idea the total number of tabs that working on?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
The tabs on the business plan sheets that we have.
Yeah, I should just make it all
Is it a
public.
finite?
Yeah, it's finite, but it is a lot. I know Vatzel has done a lot of them. Um, so like Vatzel has done a lot of them, almost all of them. Let's see, how many has he done? But most of them, the about you one is really long, but the rest of them are not that long, and it gets faster and faster as you do them. It's just to make sure. Seems there are 36. So there are, let me show you what they are. So they are, and they're the executive summary. The introduction is not a tab you need to do. About you is super long. That's the long one. Why, how, what is short. Need and market is short. Quotes from talking to customers. This one's a little bit longer because we have to do 5 interviews with different potential customers, and I'm on the call, you're on the call. We're talking to the customers and making sure they're good. Broad awareness of economy, super short. World wealth map, nothing to do. Competition analysis, short. Competition and unit economics, medium to short. Your knowledge, medium to short. Your business, short. Timeline and to-do, really short. Marketing and sales scripts, pretty short. Marketing and sales log, pretty short. SEO and blog keywords is somewhat short. Listings and partnerships, I usually do that. Referral strategies is short. Technology, I usually take care of that. Then the periodic operations is pretty short. Finances and road to profitability, we'll skip that usually. HR guide is short. It's just like talking about your HR policies. Branding and culture, customer success and surveying is medium. A customer and survey feedback is short. This is short. This is just like your mindset towards entrepreneurship. This is just making a deck. Then some lessons from different startup schools and things like that are pretty short. Then just some, there's the legal agreement, which I need to take care of. You actually, Jehoshaphat, you gave me some homework to do on that. I need to draft all those things. And so I'll get to that. Then we fund the work sessions and you should be able to continue. Let me see if I can actually make this thing public so that you can see how many tabs there are. So is it public already? Let me see. It's not public already, but let me just make it public so that you can see the template. And yeah, I know it's a little overwhelming and that like it's a lot, but at the same time, in the end of the day, entrepreneurship is always about persistence. And so if somebody has the persistence to go through the tabs, then they will have the persistence to build the company. That's our logic. Whereas if they probably don't have persistence to go through the tabs, then are they going to be able to be persistent to do the company? It's unknown. So that's sort of the idea. There's the set of tabs though, so you can see, and so that we're transparent and upfront about what are all the different tabs. Yeah. I mean, this is basically all the steps to forming a company. So we'd imagine that if you do everything here, your company will be successful.
Wow, that's interesting.
What was that?
I said that's interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, I understand if it's a little bit overwhelming or more tabs than expected, but it's a good idea for me to be transparent about the number of things that we would expect you to sort of have a grasp on. Like you should have talked to customers, for instance, and we will set up appointments with customers pretty soon. Like we did it once with Wetzel, and it was really insightful. We had 5 different 1-hour calls with 5 different potential customers to understand their thinking and understand whether our prototype would match and fill their needs and things like that. So, I mean, the reason why we're sort of doing this together is because I guess I have access to some of the market, right? Like if you're trying to, like, you can always start. There's so many incubators in Africa, for instance. Like there's STEM Me In, for instance. I post about it, and STEM Me In is started by my friend and Kay, and he, they're helping African companies target the African market. And how, there's so many incubators in India helping Indian companies target India's market. But we want to be the only incubator out there that's recognizing that the biggest market in the world is the American market. And the source of really smart minds is Africa and South Asia, because it's just sheer population wise. So we want to help entrepreneurs in Africa and South Asia target the US market, because that's where the biggest market is, the most money is for entrepreneurs to succeed. And so the reason why you'd be partnering with LD, with me, for instance, is because I'll be able to introduce you to potential customers and understand them.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting that targeting the market outside of Africa. For someone like me that for a long time, most of the ideas I've realized that there are ideas that are too matured for the customers in Africa to pay for right now. And pitching them to investors has always been an issue, because they always want to know the size of your market in Africa or in Nigeria, for instance, and how many customers you had. I remember a product that shelved around March this year. It's a product that in the UK, another company is doing the same thing, and it's a very successful company. But here, we have to shelve it in March after almost a year of working on putting the app. So funding out that. So it's super interesting that helping you for market out there and can pay for it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, really, it just comes back to the same thing. If you want to make a business, you have to make money from people who have a lot of money. And there is money in Africa, there is money in India and South Asia. But just if you look, like, if you just look at it, right? I've shown you all this graphic so many times, and you may argue like this is not quite accurate. Maybe there's a lot of black money in or actually like money that's not like paid tax on in South Asia and in Africa. But I don't know, maybe it might make it double or triple. But the end of the day is, if you're an entrepreneur here, you should target the markets where there's more people who have money to pay. Then you can make your parts of the world richer, is maybe the idea. Whereas if you try to just make things for local market, you'll get internal growth. But if you want the fast growth that China got, right? How did the US and Europe become so developed and rich? It's very slow over the last 200 years since the Industrial Revolution. Whereas China, within like 20 years, they became super rich. Because the US and Europe, they were growing through internal economy growth, targeting their own customers and improving and growing and so on like that. Whereas China, all they did was they were poor, just as poor as India and Africa. And what they did was they just targeted the US and European market. And then they bought a whole bunch of wealth into this area. Same thing with Japan. And so, yeah, it is possible to grow the internal economy and grow this, but it's way faster to just target the big markets and bring the money in that way. So that's the idea. Thanks, Francis. Yeah.
So, do you have any plans to set up a branch in Europe or something? Set up
Well,
headquarters in Europe? Because Europe is pretty underserved compared to America.
You think so?
I think there's more opportunities in Europe than in America.
Yeah. Is there a need for a branch though? Can we just target the customers online without, like, we could probably still target the customers online, even in Europe. It depends on what we're selling, right?
There are certain procedures with the European Union whereby you need to like have maybe a company based somewhere in Europe or something like that, to sort of be able to serve the population in Europe. There are
Yeah.
some kind of regulations that may need to be followed. But I've also heard about, how Estonia has like virtual offices or something like that. We can set up like a virtual office. You need to like have people there. You can just set up like a virtual office and register the business, and then that kind of takes care of registering any kind of products that you may develop.
Okay. So this is what we would do. Right now, obviously, for LD Talent, we as a business have had customers in Europe without having to register in Europe. We just had them pay online. But maybe for the types of products and services that all of you are thinking of, there might be more regulations. So what we do is on a case-by-case basis. So say for instance, you do an LD Ventures idea and you decide to target customers in Europe, and what you're doing for Europe is not something that's just something you can do online, like how we just charge. Like you actually do need like to set up that virtual office. Then in that case, on a need basis, we would set up in something in Europe if it makes sense. And so yeah, like we've had a few customers in Europe for like paying on LD, um, for our particular service of just, development services. But maybe for some other products or services, you're right that it could make a difference. Wonderful. Well, thank you. Nice to see you, Muhammad, Francis, Chibuokem, Tawfiq, Sanya, Jehoshaphat, and I remember a few other people joined in uh, before as well. So,
So at what point in LDV can we bring other developers from within the network on the project?
So if you're starting a project, you should obviously build whatever you can. So we would want you to use your own work. Like we'll fund 10, 20 hours at a time, just like clients do. We want you to work on it. But say you're like, the first thing that you need is actually a design and you're not a designer, then it might start pretty soon that you need to say like, okay, I found on LD, there's another designer who might be able to help me design something in Figma. And they would need this many work sessions. And once they design it, then I could build it out. So then it would be pretty soon on. Whereas say you're a designer and you don't know, and maybe you do front end development, but you don't do back end, then maybe it might start a little bit later. You make the designs, you maybe even code up the front end a little bit, but then once you start needing to develop a back end, you might need to hire somebody. But the idea is the entrepreneur initially should do as much of the work as they can, and then after some time, upon need, we would hire someone else to help out. And the idea is also to get these projects profitable as soon as makes sense and is possible, depending on the idea.
So if you are a developer that you can do the design, you can do the front end, you can do the back end, but doing it alone, it may take you, let's say, a couple of months. But bringing other people on board, shorten the go to market time, which would you advise to go for?
Could any of you hear that? It sort of broke up for me. the what he was saying.
So I said on the project you can do the design, you can do the back end, you can do the front end,
Yeah.
but you doing everything progressively could take you more time than maybe you are doing some part and then give the other part to someone else in the network, which will take you to the market faster. Which would you advise to go for in that case?
I mean, in that case, I would say that you can probably have someone help you. Whether that case will show up, right now it seems unlikely, because when you're really excited about a project, you would probably just want to build it. But at the same time, maybe you have time constraints, maybe you have other clients, and maybe you enjoy working with someone else, and in the end you'll have, like I was just talking about initially, eventually once your product is being used by people and looks really promising, you obviously want to get more and more people to work on your thing, on your project. So yeah, I don't have a strong answer for you. I think it just depends on the circumstances and what you decide in the moment.
Okay, excellent.
Any more questions? Feedback? Okay, I'll ask a question. So maybe some of you have seen, we're very transparent about our company and where it's positioned. So if we look here, I wrote 2 articles, one about LD talent versus Upwork, and one about LD talent versus Townhall. It's a little bit more client facing than developer facing, but in the end, what do developers want? They want a client. Well, they want a network where there are a lot of clients, right? A lot of big clients who are willing to spend a lot and have big projects and stuff. So one of the biggest risks for us before was just the sort of like the design of this page. Not this page, but the one that's going to load in a second. You know, we wanted to make sure that we're surfacing the developers' search results really nicely. Oh boy, you see yourself here. Here, right here. But anyway, we worked on that, and we have something that we think is pretty good. The question to you is this: what do you think is blocking us from becoming as big as those 2 competitors I just mentioned? In terms of number of clients, in terms of number of developers? Is it just time, or is it just we need to keep doing the same thing and just keep improving, and eventually we'll be able to get as big, if not beat out the competition, because we have a more powerful mission of development, like economic development. We have a more powerful vision of lifelong learning. Is that it? Or is there something concrete that's blocking us from becoming as big as, if not bigger, than these other players, which actually we think don't have as powerful of a vision as we do?
I actually think that you are in the right market. You're in the right market. I believe that the US is the biggest market for people looking for developers, especially in San Francisco, California, and whatnot. I believe that it's only a matter of time before the platform takes off.
Yeah, we are starting to see it take off. In that we're starting to see more and more clients sign up. I think there has been 69 paying customers who've hired each several developers. but we want to see this like really grow exponentially, and we're super transparent about everything we're trying to do. So yeah, thank you, Francis. We will continue what we're doing, but as always, just let me know if you see anything. Maybe I can let you know what our priorities are right now. So our priorities right now are to get so just like we redesigned that page, we're going to redesign the rest of the pages to make them UI friendly. We're going to make the resume form more UI friendly and UX friendly so that more developers will sign up. But we're also going to make the other pages more friendly so more clients come in, so we get more clients on the platform. We're going to be investigating paid advertising in addition to all the organic traffic that we're getting, and improving our virality programs. We're going to try to improve the page speed up time. For instance, Oboa worked on a little bit of minification work to improve our site. We've had a number of developers work on unit testing and stuff to make our site better maintained so that our development cycles are shorter. And we've had developers work on different things related to, for instance, Francis Z worked on highlighting vetting scores and such. So those are some things that we're doing. We also are thinking about just making our video better, shorter and more crisp, making our GIF better with the new design and things. But really, out of all those things, the way we might get more traffic exponentially maybe is through the ads. If we do better ads, but we need to see. Yeah, I know. So Tawfiq mentioned that it's advertising and marketing. My YouTube is laden with touring ads at the moment. Yeah, there's a ton of touring ads. We have heard from developers that our advertising is like our platform, like financially speaking, we take a smaller percentage cut. We have a better lifelong learning program, a diversity mission than some of the competitors like Touring, Townhall, Upwork. But they are experts in advertising and marketing. And so while we're good at guerrilla marketing, we need to do more of that Google Analytics plus Google Ads type of optimizations. Let me know if you have any ideas on that front, all of you. And yeah, so Mohammed also concurred that we have the best developers, but I think the difference is we need to improve the way we market it. And so I think that's a good idea. I think good point. Chibuokem said that just got an idea. What happens when one has a skill, but the projects he or she has used it in, the person cannot post it on the profile? How does one now show that he or she has that skill? So
before we move on to a different topic,
yeah,
say that perhaps maybe companies like Townhall also market themselves on platforms in conferences, and conferences where you find the biggest clients, the biggest developer companies, and things like that. They sponsor conferences, so maybe top line dollars can also improve its presence in these kind of events, to sort of market better. Because
yeah,
I don't believe online ads, it can, it's going to help us a lot. I believe that being active in developer conferences and open source and things like that, kind of things would propel the platform to where we want it to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you're mentioning that Townhall, I've seen them at conferences. Like I went to Disrupt and I saw them there. Now, one of the things that's just a concern is now with COVID and remote work, do conferences still matter? Physical conferences, is it worth it? But I have made note, and that is a potential. I really like the idea of open source. We do have our developers post their blog project open source, but maybe a little bit more collaborative type of open source, building more sophisticated projects open source is another idea so that we get attention. Francis, was there anything more that you wanted to say on that?
But I think it's conferences. I think the whole COVID situation will come to an end, and conferences will resume, and that's when LD can start getting more involved.
That's a really good point on the opportunity, is that we have a chance now. So the order now is Chibuo Kim and then Obua. So first Chibuo Kim wrote, what happens when one has a skill? Yeah, so if you can't post the link to the GitHub or the link to the website on your profile, you can still describe the project and the skill used without linking to the project. Does that answer your question? Or is it
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. It does.
Thank you. Obua wrote, I'm concerned about my interview invites. I believe a client can invite many developers, but sometimes clients don't respond on the interview channels. I know this is really horrible. And developers don't know what's going on, why it takes forever. The difference of the time zone effects, is there a way of improving this communication? So that's a really good point. It's a careful balance, right? If it's a careful balance, because if we make it hard for clients to, like, if we ask them for more information, if we ask them for more intent, and then less clients will sign up. But if we let in any client, then developers will get bothered. So what we started doing is basically requiring the clients to have a call with us and requiring them to have a clear job description, but not necessarily long. But then we do run into situations sometimes where clients don't respond. And I have to, for instance, reping them manually even. And we're at a scale where that's not really feasible for me to do anymore, but I still need to do that, I find. So we need some more clever ideas on that. I've actually run out of ideas on that, and I need your ideas. We're doing the whole thing where if a developer responds in Slack, then we remind them over email, that remind the client to respond them over email. They get a Slack reminder, which also comes in email as well. Yeah, I'm not sure what more we could do. If you have any ideas. One of the things is, if we, like, when I talk to a client, right, how am I going to know whether that person is going to be the type who's going to respond in Slack or not? I just make sure that they seem reasonable, they seem well qualified to hire developers, and then I let them in.
Perhaps maybe there could be someone between the client and the developer to sort of, keep communicating, giving feedback to developers, letting people know what's actually going on with the hiring.
And how would that person help? How would that person help get the client's attention, for instance?
They'll be able to get information directly from the clients, contact the clients directly, versus, the client having to inform all the developers they've invited. Clients might, get, bored by that, and, only inform only a few developers, and everyone else doesn't know what's going on. So perhaps there should be someone. Are you the one doing it currently? Are you the one sort of communicating the developer to the developer?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of automated. Like, the system, if the developer responds in the channel, the client will get an email reminder. But if I see a client has been, like, glaringly ignoring all their interview channels, then I might also send them a note. So I do see, like, I could delegate that. That's an interesting idea. Like, more repinging of clients, but not necessarily by me, because I don't have the benefit for that, but maybe by actually another person. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes it seems like I reping the clients too much. But maybe there's a clever strategy to go about that. Maybe it's just that some clients are not used to Slack. I don't know.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
happens.
true. Some clients are not Slack.
So then what do we do?
I think like the last client I worked with, 90% of the time, messages were not responded on Slack. The person would either want to send an email or was more comfortable chatting or sending messages on WhatsApp. Yeah. So can we integrate? I think there's WhatsApp business that we can integrate the API into our own system at LT.
Yeah, you broke up there. This is a really interesting idea that I'm very interested in, but I'm not able to hear you. Can you like say it again?
So some clients that are not comfortable with Slack.
Yeah. What was the thing about the API or something? WhatsApp web or something like that you were
A
saying?
WhatsApp API for a WhatsApp business, we can integrate that into LD the platform.
Huh. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. So right now we are using the Twilio API and the mail and the Mandrill API to basically, if you put a mail and phone reaction, it'll forward the Slack message to the client. Right? Remember when I put like mail and phone, and then there's a little like phone receiver and recycle thing that comes? That means that the message has been forwarded to the client's email and phone. But you know what? The client's going to see that message saying, oh, you have a message waiting in Slack. And then they're just going to be, oh, whatever. But we do want to keep it, like, as you understand, we do want to keep everything in Slack so we have one community, one sort of system. It's tough. Maybe as people get, like, as the world changes, the new generation takes over, more people will be used to Slack. So that's one thing, is like we're already moving in that direction. But I'm curious about the WhatsApp API. So could you actually write up that idea also? So Joe, I actually want you to write up two things for me if possible. So one thing is you were gonna write up the
the experiences on the profile.
Yeah, the experiences on profile issue in detail. So, and then two is this WhatsApp and other API integrations to help clients, and how that would look. Like, would we have a mirror? In addition to Slack, would we have like a WhatsApp way of developers and clients talking where LD could still be like part of that, right? Yeah, just let me know if, like, you know how our system works. You know why we do decide to do things the way we decide to do things. You know how the system works. You know the way it's designed. Just when you describe your two ideas, or especially the second one, just describe it in a way that you think could work for both our business model and clients' personalities and developers' convenience.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay, it's been an hour, so if anyone else has any ideas or feedback, let me know.
I feel like you'd want to make it real easy for clients to contact developers, do interviews and whatnot. So there has to be like perhaps someone to mediate that, because even on the project that I got last week, the client was constantly calling me back to mail, to send him an email, and yet I was on Slack. We were supposed to give communication Slack, and we had a little bit of a conversation about that, you and me.
Yeah.
He was inviting me over to the emails, send me an emails, and do that. Slack is one of the communication tools that we have. So I feel like you also have to make it easy for the client to sort of be able to communicate. and also for developers to know what's going on. If you can do it as an individual, if you two can do it, then that would be nice. But perhaps there should be someone that all developers can communicate to, and all clients can communicate to.
Yeah. I mean, Upwork has the same problem, right? Like, you're right. By putting constraints on saying developers and clients have to talk to each other in Slack, the business model of LD, it's a little easier to execute, where like they try them for the free trial and such. But it puts constraints on it puts constraints on clients, right? Like if the client's not familiar with Slack, not able to communicate there. You know, the only other thing I could think of is maybe we should just have a login for our site and let people chat on our site in addition to Slack as well. So that.
Okay, so before joining Earning Dollars, I was working at Tonga. And at Townhall, they had like project managers, and those people would be the ones that the clients would communicate to, describe the project in detail, and then these people would be the ones to communicate to the developers. So if there's any question or any detail, anything that wasn't clear, developers would communicate to the project managers. They're like permanent project managers. They're not really managing any project, but whatever projects comes in from the client, they take it over, and they're the ones that are supposed to keep both sides informed of the process and whatever is going on with interviews or whatever. So that kind of makes it much easier. We didn't really have an issue like this where clients would vanish and developers would not be in a position where they're not informed about what is going on in the project.
So what I understood of that was that the product managers at Tonga would sort of manage the communication and the project delegation.
Right.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah. Also, there's a huge background noise when you're talking. I was wondering if you could either talk louder or maybe fix that or talk louder.
Sorry, I didn't. There's a background noise still?
It's much better now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I was saying that they're like project managers, and like those people are the ones that the client communicates to. And these people are usually, tech savvy themselves. They're really developers themselves. They can help clients figure out what kind of project they want or what kind of skills they're looking for. Sometimes clients come in and they don't even know what they're looking for. They're not very sure about what kind of skills they need or what kind of developer they need. And these kind of people try to advise them, understand the project requirements, and advise the clients better on what kind of developer they're looking for, what kind of skills they're looking for. And now these people are the ones that keep all the developers informed. They'll send a notification to Slack where every developer will get the notification, and then all the developers, if they have any questions about the project, any details that are not clear, then the project manager sort of clarifies all those issues and then gets back to the client or whatever.
My one question is, if we have that right now, we're trying to do the whole like you've seen the pricing section of LD, right? Like we're trying to make it basically we're trying to reduce the overhead. I guess you've seen that. We're trying to keep a transparent cut, and then we're also trying to make it easy for them to buy out and work with them directly, and we're trying to even show like what are the profit margins of LD, and what the cut is used for. If we add project managers, then wouldn't that increase our expenses as a organization, and then wouldn't it make the developer get less money?
Okay, well, maybe slightly, because the project manager doesn't manage one project. They're looking at perhaps 10 projects, and they're you know, informing developers what is going on. They are really talking to, like, they manage multiple projects, not just one project. That's what I mean. So the cost kind of is reduced in that way.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think one other thing is just when the clients join our Slack, our initial onboarding message for them is really long and unclear. And I mean, it's clear to me, but it's not clear to them because it's really long. So actually, maybe I'll show you that. Maybe you're saying, right? Clients have no idea how to hire me. Clients have no idea that they need to interview me and things like that, right? Maybe if you see this, you might like sort of be able to tell me why the clients are not able to figure out our system. So let me tell you this. One, before they join, we send them the little video snippets of how to use the system and the GIF on our site. I don't know if I don't think people watch all of it for sure, because nobody's interested in watching videos. They just want to start talking to developers. When they join Slack, this is what it looks like. This is maybe why they are getting confused and not knowing what to do, because it's just too long. They don't know how to try. They don't know where to interview people. They don't know how to try people out for the free trial. And they're confused and talking all over the place on different messaging platforms. And then,
So
yeah.
At what point does the new client speak to a human?
The new client speaks to me before I approve their project. But once I approve their project, they get invited to Slack, and this is the message that they get. This is the onboarding message that they get. And I think none of them read it. And so they have no idea what to do. They have no idea where to interview the developers. They have no idea how to try developers for the free trial. And they just ask me. They get that automated response, which tells them how, but they still don't know what's going on. And they're like, it's too many messages. I'm not able to understand what's going on.
Yeah, you need to put a human there.
I mean, the human's me right now.
That would actually improve the experience. That would actually improve the experience of the platform.
So you don't think it's the messaging? You think it's actually like, even if I make this more clear, if I make it shorter and more clear, right? Like actually they get this message also, how to use LD Talent, find developers, hire and try and stuff. I mean, one thing is this video is too long, but the other thing is people don't actually just like, I mean, some people do use the links. Maybe I only remember the cases where people don't. But you don't think that, like, and I do answer their questions. Like, it's not at the scale where, I mean, we could hire somebody else to help with some of the answering of questions, but.
Do you have any data on how many clients sort of are converted into actual clients after that point? Do you have any data on that? Do you collect any data?
On
Because
what?
that's the only way you can know if it's working for clients or not. Otherwise, if you're converting all clients, then the system is perfectly fine.
Well, we're not converting all clients who join our Slack. We're converting maybe, like, to get them to try the free trial. My guess is somewhere like 40%. Like 40% of clients who join our Slack start a trial with someone.
What about after speaking to you, after they see the message, how many clients go on to actually hire developers on the platform? After seeing that message.
That's what I'm saying. So like almost everyone who sort of speaks to me joins our Slack. because I just approved their account and they join. But when they join our Slack, so after speaking to me and joining our Slack, which is like 1 unit action, then maybe, I don't know, maybe like 40% actually hire developers for a free trial. But the free trial, once they try the developers and they realize, wow, the system works really well, the developers are really good, I'm improving all the work sessions, that is close to a 90% conversion rate between the trying the free trial and actually hiring them, actually funding invoices, funding hours. That is really working well. So actually it's our system. And I think it's what Muhammad said right now. I feel like they are deterred by the long messages. Many clients just want to get on board and get their projects done. Yeah. So actually getting people to sign up for a call with me and get their account approved, that seems decently optimized. Getting people, once they've tried the free trial, to fund more hours, that also seems fairly optimized. I think it's the stage when they join. So I'm going to investigate the idea of a hiring manager, or not a hiring manager, you mentioned a product manager, to sort of help them invite developers and try some of them, like press try on their matches page. But I also think just it's the messaging is too much. The messaging needs to improve. So if there's anything else on that, let me know. Francis, did I understand your point? I didn't mean to.
Yeah, yes, you did. All we need to do is just be able to collect data and see what clients the platform is losing, and at which point clients are leaving the platform and things like that. So we can be able to address those issues. Otherwise, we don't want to be solving the problem that actually doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's never going to be 100% perfect. I mean, the way to get the system better is just have more clients also, which means more market. But yeah. Yeah. Cool. Anything else from anyone? Okay, well, I think it's been a pretty long meeting, so we should probably adjourn. You've given me a lot of good feedback on how to improve our system. And so a lot of it is me being a bottleneck as well. So I will try to delegate or just work on things. Yeah, great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Bye.
I will send the document to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.